guys, it's Julian here, and today I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about rules and I want to talk about flying. So in 2008 there was a crash with an MD-82 that was taking off out of Madrid, and the flight crew didn't select the flaps to the takeoff position. So what are the flaps for starters? They changed the shape of the wings, those big things you see poking out the back and the front of the wing when you take off, and then they retract them after you're airborne and speeding up. They change the shape of the wing and they allow the wing to operate at a lower speed so you can get airborne and you can also land. And if you don't select flaps for takeoff, then it can be catastrophic. And what happened in Madrid is they didn't select the flaps to takeoff position. The aircraft got a few feet off the ground, the wing stalled, it rolled to the right and crashed just to the right of the runway there. And I always remember this crash. I mean, I was there the day after, and I just got my commandos taking off of that same runway, 36 left, and I looked down, and there was the charred wreckage of this MD-82, where tragically 154 people died the day before I was there. And yeah, these things stick with you. But what I think's interesting from a behaviour change point of view is how aviation operates in the light of things going wrong. So when a crash like that happens, they'll look at it, they'll look at their procedures, their rules, and they'll say, what rules have we got in place to make sure the flaps are selected before takeoff? They'll look at them and say, are they robust enough? And if they are robust enough, why are they not being followed? So they'll go through this analysis and change things as they need to, and look at reasons why things aren't being followed. And I think that's really relevant for where we are with behaviour change. So let's say you're trying to get rid of your type 2 diabetes, your pre-diabetes, maybe your high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you're trying to lose weight, whatever your particular goal is. You do need a rule. You do need to start with something. You need to start with a rule. And just like aviation, going right back to post-war when things were starting to evolve, they started with very basic rules, but they've evolved over time, and that's a bit the way we should be thinking as well. We just chuck in a rule to get the ball rolling. So it could be really small. I want to emphasize that, guys. It can be tiny. You can think this is so trivial, it's hardly worth doing, like stopping sugar in your coffee or your tea, or doing a meatless Monday, or cutting out milk and going to a plant-based milk or something like that. It can be a really small first step. And then you've just got to start asking yourself questions, do a bit of analysis, a little bit like the aviation industry, be objective about it, and just say, am I getting the results I want from my first rule? And if the answer is yes, so I'm moving in the right direction, then that's great, happy days, just keep doing it, right? No problem. But what about, I put my rule in place, am I getting the results I want? No, I'm not. Then you've got to ask yourself a further question. So I am following my rules and I'm not getting the results I want. Well, you need to expand your rule, perhaps even bring in a second rule, and keep them simple, keep them easy to, maybe simple to follow, not necessarily easy to follow, but you've followed the first one, so this is encouraging, right? So maybe expand it or bring in a second. Am I getting where I want to go? No. Am I following the rules? No, I'm not. Then it gets kind of interesting. So in the Madrid case, actually, the rules were fairly robust for selecting flaps on an MD-82 at that time. They had, I think, 3 checks of the flap position during the taxi out before they take off. So they came to the conclusion that the rules were pretty robust. They just, on that particular day, and to be fair to the flight crew, there were a million distractions that particular day, and they had the even worse luck that there's a very simple logic circuit on an aircraft where if you select takeoff thrust and the flaps are not in the correct position, you get a hooter that goes off, and that's your final fail-safe, if you will. That's the thing that's going to save your life, and that's saved hundreds of crews' lives over the years, because this happens quite regularly, or used to happen quite regularly, that aircraft were they didn't select flaps. They got as far as the runway, bring the thrust up, get the hooter, check the flaps. That's it. Okay. Saves your life. On that particular day, totally tragically, not only did they have a million other distractions, but that hooter didn't work, and that was the final the final thing that cost them their lives. So am I following my rules? Am I getting where I want to go? No. Am I following my rules? No. The question is, why am I not following my rules? And they did change some procedures after Madrid, after that crash. And this is where you need to be. You need to change some procedures, right? You need to be, you're like your own airline, right? You analyze it objectively, keep the emotions out of it as much as we can. Guilt and shame serve a purpose, but not dwelling on things for hours and days, that doesn't serve a purpose. We need to analyze, work out where we went wrong, change things as required. So am I following my rules? No. Why? And in the next video, guys, I want to talk about techniques that you've got your rule, you're not following it. How can I give myself a much better chance of following that rule? Guys, I hope that was interesting. If there's one take home off this video, this isn't about aviation, this isn't about planes crashing, this is about rules, how important they are. And one point I really want to emphasize is that first rule can be tiny. It doesn't matter. That's aviation just after the war with their first checklist that they came up with, their first best guess. And it was pretty poor, to be honest, but it's evolved over the next 50, 60 years to a point where those rules are really robust and crashes are, touch wood, very rare. Guys, I hope that's interesting. Stick a rule in place, see where you are, analyze it, and subscribes, likes, always great, and comments, superb. And I'll catch you next time. Bye for now, guys. Be well.